Well, all right. So I am really excited about being with you all this evening, and we're going to talk about several things. I want to talk a little bit about something that we commonly see in the office, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the services and things that we offer. A lot of people don't really know that much about our office. I mean, I've been around for like 38 years, and to be honest with you, I was calculating today. We started in our EHR system in 2014, and we started on a patient number 10,000, and we're up to 31,199 right now. So, yeah, so that means we've had almost 22,000 people coming to see us in the last 8-9 years. So there's, if you're out there, the chances are more likely than not that I've seen you sometime in the long past. I had a gentleman that came in this evening, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the dilemma he's found himself in. He had been in to see us in the past, and he got better from what he came for us for, which is commonly what happens. People come in, they feel better, and then he didn't come for a while, and then he ended up having some additional problems, and ended up having some complications from those additional problems. He ended up having back surgery from those problems that he didn't come back in to see me for. And he's actually been to a different chiropractor, and he's still suffering. And he's had literally a stack of MRIs and X-rays that he's now bringing back to me. He wants me to look over everything, and we're going to do that. And I'll be honest with you, the biggest concern that he has, and he has a lot of health issues, but the biggest concern is that nobody's given him any answers as to why he has all these problems. He wants some answers. I remember years ago, there was a young lady that came in that she had some severe migraines and headaches, and they were debilitating. And I explained to her why she was having the problems she was having, and kind of went in detail as to what the problem was. And she started crying. And I asked her, why are you crying? She said, "You don't understand." She said, "Just to know what the problem is and to know that I'm not lost my mind and I'm not crazy is so comforting to know." But I'll be honest with you, to have a problem and to get better from your problem is really not going to really give you the long-term health benefits that I'm really trying to modify my communications. And, I want you to live with confidence in the future. I want you to be able to know without a shadow of the doubt, as you get older, you're going to continue to be healthy. And I want to kind of talk about this health span curve that we commonly see. And I don't want you to become victimized to the problem, because I had this long conversation with this elderly gentleman who was adamant that we all are going to get sick and die someday. Adamant. He goes, because I asked him, I said, I could tell him I was out at this event, and we were doing courtesy screenings out in the community, and he was walking, dragging his leg, and I said, "Would you like to have your spine checked and look at your posture?" And he goes, "No, I'm okay." And I said, "Well, I couldn't help but notice you're dragging your leg." And he said, "Well, I know what that is." I said, "Well, what is it?" He said, "It's just my age." And I said, "Well, what exactly is going on?" He says, "Well, my right knee's wore out. I need a knee replacement." And I said, "Well, you're dragging that leg." And he said, "Yeah, it's my age. My knee's wearing out." I said, "Well, you're not dragging the other leg, are you?" And I said, and it was his right leg that hurt really bad. And I said, "I'm confused." I said, "Is your left leg hurting too?" He goes, "No, my left leg is fine." I said, "Well, you're walking crooked, tilted over to that one side, and you're twisted, and that knee is jamming up on you." He said, "No, it's okay. It's just my age." And I said, "I'm still confused." He looked at me. I kind of got him to stop and think about what I was saying. I'm confused. And I asked him, I said, your right knee is bad and it's because of your age, but your left knee is fine. I'm confused. How old is your left knee? Is your left knee younger than your right knee, or is your, so, but he had this eye movement in his, when I said that to him, his eyes started wiggling in his head. He just never really grasped what I was trying to say. What he didn't really understand was that the way he was standing, his posture and the distortion that he had created more pressure, damage, compression, twist, what we call torquing or coupled motion is the technical term. And he had all this added pressure because of the way he was twisted that was jamming his right knee up, and his right knee was bad. So, we know that one of the most common functional problems that we see with people as they reach the age 50 is they start not being able to move like they should, or they used to could do. They become stiff and they become restricted. So I'm going to talk about this health span curve that we commonly see. Now, I'm not going to agree that this is normal. I'm just going to say this is what we see. So I don't know if you can hone in on that. Can they see this curve, you think, if I hold it up there? Is it good? Okay. So down here in the beginning is the beginning of life. At birth, you're pretty dependent upon mama. But by the time you're in your early 20s, you're pretty much at the peak of vitality. Wouldn't you agree? By the time a kid's in their early 20s, they feel like they're just full of themselves and ready to go and take on the world, and nothing's going to happen to them. And they're going to live forever. I mean, that's that vitality, that youthful vitality that we all wish we could. You ever heard people say if we could bottle that up and sell it, we'd be making a lot of money? Well, that's the vitality potential that we have within us right here. And then that happens in the early part of our 20s. Well, then after that, commonly, what do we see happening beyond the 20s as we move on into the 30s and over here into the 40s and then over here into the 50s? Where do we find ourselves now? Now we're closer to that 50% margin. You see that? So they have this phase of life, this downward trend that we call the degeneration phase. So there's this rapid decline from the peak of vitality downward in a deep slope, so that by the time you're Medicare age, which is 65, you're down here on the low end, and the average Medicare age patient takes about 12 prescriptions on average. Now, some take fewer, some take a lot more. I had a guy yesterday, I said, well, you're pretty much average. You're 63, you're taking 11 prescriptions. We counted it on his page that he brought in to us. There's 11 prescriptions this man was on. And I said, the healthiest people aren't the ones that take the most prescriptions. You have to be on a low end of the spectrum to be able to have that. So let's kind of look at this in quarters of life. The early phase is the developmental phase. That's the rapid ascent to peak vitality. Then you have this little period of time between your 20s and early 40s that you're in this vitality phase. And then beyond that, you go this rapid decline in this degeneration phase. And then you have this end stage that we call morbidity. And this is where this man was adamant that we're all going to get sick and die someday, because that's what he was experiencing with his own health. And the honest truth is this is what we see in society today. People reach a point in their life where they can no longer take care of themselves. They're no longer able to live independently. They're stressed out. They're overburdened. They're anxious. They're fatigued. They're tired. They're run down. And it's just a horrible thing to know that, you're going to end up down in this zone of life someday if things don't change. And that's what we want to talk about. So up here is an optimal health. Down here is suboptimal health. Down here, there are conditions that have been diagnosed. And then down here, you're in trouble. Most surgeries, most medical expenses are in the end stage of life with your function and vitality down to a low level. So here's the question. Is this the destiny that we're all going to end up with? I hope not. I hope not, Miss Lisa. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I don't want to end up like that. So here's what we believe is possible. To have a healthy new you, I believe that we can reach this peak of vitality. But what if we could get rid of this entire degeneration phase altogether and extend that vitality on out, way on out, beyond the point that most people are already dying? Average life expectancy in our country is about 80. But what if, we can get on out to 90 or 100? I preach this message about living healthy to 100. We've been playing this video looping on YouTube, and if you've tuned in to watch it, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it. It's a series of videos that talks about the formula for long-term healthy living. But I want you to know that we want to teach our patients how to become independent and self-sufficient to be able to know how to take care of themselves so that they can have this expectation of longevity and good health. That's what's available. So all of this between here and here is what I call the lost potential. And it's the saddest thing to know that somebody could live way higher than what they commonly get, but that because they don't know, they live way down here in the lower end. And here's this gentleman. He and I are close to about the same age. And bless his heart, he's gotten so anxious and irritable and fatigued. And now he's got this these chronic shakes that's going on because his nervous system is so stressed. He can't sleep at night. His posture is horrible. His wife had to move out of his house because she was no longer able to live with the man because he was so stressed and anxious. And that helped for a little while, but it didn't help long term because now he's by himself and more anxious and still can't do anything. And he's continuously going downhill in the spiral. So what I told him that I would like to be able to do for him is to have him explain to me the joy that he has or will have in the future of knowing and having the confidence to be able to live forward healthier. What a blessing that would be for him to be able to reach that point. So one of the things that we like to share, and we talked a little bit about this last week, and I'm hoping y'all tuned in last week, but if you didn't, what I would like for you to do for yourself, actually I would love for you to share it with me. I'd like to see it myself. What are your 30-year health goals? Now I'm 67 this year. At least that means I'll be 97 in 30 years. So what if I could write my 97-year-old David Wade health goals? What would I want? Well, I'd want to be flexible, balanced, have good energy, be able to sleep good at night, wake up with vibrant energy, accomplish whatever I want during the day. I want to be able to breathe fully with no interruptions in, my breathing. I want to be able to have really better weight than I have right now. There's so many things that I need to do now differently to be able to have that, to be able to extend my vitality on out to a farther place. So, when I preached this message, I told somebody yesterday, I'm sharing this with you because I'm learning it right now. God's revealing this to me, for me, but so that I can share it with you. And so that's the way my office works. I learn things every day. And I try to apply the things that God's sharing with me. Do y'all realize that you're not here by accident right now if you're tuned into this program? That there's a purpose for you to be able to tune in and hear what we've got to say. Most people don't recognize, some people do, but most people don't recognize that God's got a plan for your life. That He has a plan to bring you to a better place and to prosper you and to, He don't want you to be sick. And what He told me to do was to help allow you to be able to get to where you're supposed to be healthier. Specifically, He said, prepare the way. And what that means to me is that I'm supposed to help you get to where you're supposed to go healthier and communicate to you the principles of health. I had a gentleman in the office probably the last patient today on my table that was laying there, and every time I just lightly touched his back, he would just shake, just have this resonating shaking going on. And my son is going into chiropractic college, so I had him come over and touch this guy. I put my hand on my son's hand, and we put a light pressure on this guy's back, and the table was stretching him. And as the table moved and we put a light pressure on him, he would just resonate with shaking going on. And I explained to him that anxiety that he's having is creating that, and it's coming in from his diaphragm area, and it's holding too much tension, and it's not conducive to good healing for him to carry that much tension internally like that. So what I talked to him about was how to do what we call diaphragmatic breathing. So I laid him over on his back, and I put my hand deep down on the inside of his solar plexus, and I said, I want you to inhale, and when you inhale, I want you to push your stomach up in the air. And then when you exhale, I'm going to push down and let your air come out. And you're going to repeat that. So I got him grouped. At first, he was trying to breathe with his chest and not with his diaphragm, but eventually he caught on and he started breathing correctly. And I held my pressure down, and he raised my hand up. When he inhaled, I put the pressure back down, and it would help him exhale. And as he started breathing, he began to relax a little bit. And then I said, here's what I need you to start doing. I said, have you ever heard, well, first I asked him, I said, do you have any kind of church background? And he said, yeah. And he goes to a Baptist church locally. And I said, well, have you ever heard the word Yahweh? I said, that's a Hebrew name for God. And he said, no, I've never heard that. And I said, well, it's basically a series of vowels. There's YH and VH. And I said, Yahweh, they. And it says, just breathe in and say, Yah. And then when you exhale, go way, like that. And then inhale. And I said, you'll be inhaling and exhaling the very name of God. And I said, there's a phenomenal peace that can come over you because he is Jehovah Shalom, the God of peace. He is Jehovah Jireh, the God that provides, Jehovah Rapha, the God that heals. He is the source of your healing. And so I think we need to speak his name when we breathe. Not maybe constantly. Now, I like to do it constantly, but when I'm busy and my mind's occupied with other things, I start focusing on what we're doing. But I try to get back to that and, stay focused on that all during the day. I find that I'm a better chiropractor when I am able to stay tuned in to God eternal that's in my body. And I explained to him about that and about how the makeup of his DNA basically speaks that word that God eternal is in your body. And by speaking the name of God, there's a phenomenal connection that provides a greater degree of healing for you. And I said, it'll help you to be aware of this and to start putting it into practice. And I said, and I looked at him, I put my hand on him, I said, this that you have, that we are here, that's around you, this is your body. This body is nothing more than a house for who you are inside. This body that we can feel and see and touch carries us through this world, and the world sees that body, and it's how we relate to you through that body, but God sees you on the inside. And I said, and that's where healing comes from, is on the inside. We so often try to approach healing from the outside. We want to know what's going on. We want to do what we can to, treat what's going on. But the reality is that if we could connect to that which is within us, that healing truly does come from above down and inside out, and the body innately is designed to heal itself out. And if you can understand the reality that the spine here and the nervous system is really the structural frame and the foundational, really literally the foundation of health and life and strength of your body, then you'll understand why is it important for this spine to be lined up and to be moved back to more of an ideal spine posture to be able to allow the freedom of life and energy to flow through your body. It'll literally flood your body with healing. And if you can start focusing on the long-term health goals and not focus on the short-term quick fixes, then you're going to have more of what God's plan for you to have is, and you're going to be able to accomplish more over time by having a perception of where you're at and where you're going than if you just try to let it go. I had somebody tell me earlier this week, he said, you know, in my 20s, I used to think of the year 2000 as like, I never thought I'd live this long, he told me. And he's only in his 40s now. He said, when I was in my 20s, I never thought I would see the year 2000. And here we are, 2023. And I said, yeah, I think that's about the time George Jetson, I figured we'd be in flying cars and stuff by now. But anyway, kind of all joking aside, but you know, his point was, he said, I've never thought about 30-year health goals. I never thought I'd be alive this long. I never thought I'd see the year 2000. So when I was a kid, you know, we didn't think about all that. And I said, well, that's part of the problem, is that we don't think about that. And we end up getting what we get. We're preoccupied with so many things in life and the stresses of this world. And, you know, and what do we need to focus on? I think we need to focus on the name of God as we breathe every day, moment to moment. So if you can start writing down specifically your 30-year health goals, and then, you know, send them to me. You know, my email is drdavidwade, drdavidwade@gmail.com, or you could message me, attach it to a file. You know, I'll keep it private, but I'd love to see what your goals are for yourself. I'd like to figure out how I can support and help you obtain all of the goals that you're looking for. I feel like I said, you're not here by accident. There's a specific reason why you've tuned in to this program. And I'm hoping that you'll learn something. First of all, that you don't have to have this lifespan curve where you peak and decline, that you can have an extended vitality line and have a radically compressed morbidity phase of life. Wouldn't it be great if we could be productive and active right up to the time your time is up? You know, have accomplished everything that you intended to accomplish and then fall asleep and then wake up in the arms of the Lord? I mean, wouldn't that be better than living in a nursing home or having Alzheimer's and not knowing who you are for the next 30 years? I think it's totally possible. But you have to prepare. You have to know how to do the things that we talk all about, everything you need to do on the YouTube videos on Living Healthy to 100. The whole principle of long-term healthy living is based on a formula. The acronym is the word wellness, being well in your NESS, wellness. The N is nutrition, the E is exercise, the first S is stress management, and the last S is your structure. How important is it to have a healthy, functioning spine, which is the foundation for health and life to your entire body, and strength? Well, very important. So we've got a little bit of time to the end of our 30 minutes, but I think I'm going to go ahead and close early unless somebody has a question that they have for me. I feel excited about the opportunity to share this with you. It's a message that you're going to hear from me for the rest of my life, because this is what God's told me to do. And I'm going to continue to do that the best I can. Now, like I said, we refine things. I add stuff to my office all the time. We offer, you know, so many different types of services here in the clinic for chiropractic, but we also do a lot of occupational medical. We just picked up a contract to do DOT exams for a group of people that work out at the depot. They're under a contract, and we got another company that we're working on at the depot. That's another company that we're going to be working on to do a combination of DOT exams and pulmonary function testing and hearing testing and some other things that we can do. And, you know, if there's something that you could think of that we could help you with, then I would love to be a part of your healthcare team. I'm Dr. David Wade. I'm wishing you good health for a lifetime.
Do we do DNA testing at this office?
We can, yeah. Sometimes it's becoming more popular since, paternity testing is kind of an important thing. But yeah, we're looking at maybe doing some contract work with some of the centers around that need testing of their occupants of their. Yeah, we're gonna start pursuing looking at some of that stuff.
All right,
And of course, I'm going to get you to help me with all that too. Yeah. All right. Well, Justin, this is Justin. He's my helpmate here. He's the one that puts us on out there in all the different social media platforms. Appreciate you, Justin. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk soon. Send me your 30-year health goals, and we'll certainly have something to talk about. All right. Thank y'all.
Have a good night, y'all.